Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the United Star. And this is another episode of the StarCast. We've got MoJo here from Red Devils NCR, and we've got our in house expert in Vishesh Gupta. Today, the big question looming on everyone's mind is: has Liverpool already run away with the title with Spurs' poor results? Or is there yet a sort of contender there? So, Mojo, let me come to you. What do you think? And about that 7-0 performance and their victory against Spurs?
Um, I mean, on the face of it, yes, it looks like Liverpool are through their injury crisis, so to speak. It leaves only Van Dijk, who's injured for them at the moment, amongst the consistent playing 11 they had last season. So you would say that yes, the probabilities look more towards Liverpool running away from it. But then, I mean, this season has shown us that there are a lot of unpredictability still there. Wasn't it the entire the first 11 of Liverpool that lost 7-2 to Aston Villa? So while it might seem that they are just 3 points ahead of Spurs right now, Spurs losing today, as the scores currently stand, would be a bit of a bummer. But I do believe that yes, Liverpool will be there and thereabouts. Um, if Spurs and Mourinho don't get their act together, and if Man City doesn't, get its act together in terms of finding the goals that they are missing so far this season, then on the face of it, yes, it looks like Liverpool are going to run away. But having said that, Southampton is stronger, Everton are stronger. You never know with United, we might just find a groove which, if not against Liverpool directly one on one, but then we might just be up there or thereabouts, like it's been hyped up over the last 3-4 days. But yes, at this point in time, Liverpool look like the team which is again getting back to its form of last year, and they have their entire first 11, which was playing for them last year, again fit as well.
Right. Vishesh, I know you want to desperately talk about whether Man United can make a title challenge, but before that, the 7-0 performance that they had against Crystal Palace. Now, there are a couple of things that stood out for me. One thing that was that, you can take out any player from that team and put in somebody else, and somehow it seems to work. So, what do you see that? I mean, obviously, as a United fan, I don't want to go on praising Liverpool, but you kind of have to the way they play. So, are there certain things that you see that we can adapt from Liverpool's game? Because we are also obsessed with playing out from the back.
Rasham, it's more of a system that has been developed by Klopp at Liverpool. I think he's filled it in all their players, including their youth academy, that you need to follow this system and this is how you play. I don't care about your result at the youth academy level. We don't see Liverpool, winning the league in the under 18s or under 23s. What they're doing is they're ensuring that the players that do come up play a similar style as the first team. So when that one odd talent comes out, they can straight fit in, like Curtis Jones. No, he's not. He's like he just came on the scene and he's taking that first spot. Their new centre back is okay. It's not a Virgil van Dijk, but he's doing the job for them. So because the system has been so engraved within the players at a younger age, when they make that transition to the first team, it's not a completely new system to them. So for that
Right.
reason, when we see uh, Van Dijk going, it's a major blow for them, no doubt. But the player coming to replace him knows how to go about things, at least from a tactical point of view. And when you look at their players, Fabinho is doing a great job at centre back. He's showing that he is, he can play. He's a dynamic player who can play in multi positions. So honestly, I think Mourinho said it well. Throughout this period, everyone was like, oh, Liverpool have 11 injuries, 12 injuries. But who were those 12 injuries? I mean, even today, a lot of people say Liverpool are injured. But as Mojo said, everyone's back except for Van Dijk. So who is injured? So this full, build up of, oh, maybe Liverpool won the title with an injured squad is I don't believe it. I mean, it's football. You're bound to get injuries. You got lucky for 2.5 years not to get any injuries to your main players. And with this hectic schedule, I think Mojo is completely right. They still have to play Southampton and United, and that's a different topic. The Southampton have been really good. I mean, the game against City that took place, they didn't deserve to lose that. The game against United just came out as a different force. So Southampton looked like a team that threatens the top four this season, and I wouldn't put it past any team, to be honest, to beat Liverpool because they are there for the taking if you show up. If you show up like Crystal Palace, it's going to be pretty easy to beat you.
Right. So, Mojo, one of the things that I picked up from that Liverpool performance is the ease and the speed with which they transition the ball from side to side. So, this is something that Man United have been lacking in terms of the speed of transition. So, do you think there are any players in this current United team that can do that for us? Or where are we failing tactically to achieve that sort of transition?
I mean, I think Vishesh hit the hammer on the head, so to speak. Sorry, wherein he emphasized the system that Liverpool play, and they have the players to match that system. Unfortunately, with us, with the slowness of Maguire and Lindelof, and then transitioning the ball with speed further up to our forwards gets compromised because then you have Fred and McTominay or Matic playing there as CDMs. So that transition, yes, takes time. Now, Liverpool does have a CDM kind of a player sitting in there as well. But then the system they play, wherein once the ball gets forwarded to the CDMs, your right back and the left back, they bomb on, and you have some on to rather than just look for Mane or Salah all the times. So I guess it's going to take time for our system to gel in properly, for us to transition the ball from the back right up to the front. I mean, we showed how ridiculously we could fail against the first goal we gave away in the last game because we just couldn't, move the ball from the back. But then Pogba moved it from the back, and the third goal was a joy to watch. So partly, yes, it's down to coaching. Partly, and more than that, partly, I guess, is to do with the players that Liverpool have and the ideology or the process with which Klopp gets them to play makes a lot of difference. Oli might have or might not have a particular style of playing. I mean, the jury's still out whether Oli is a tactical magician or not. But then we don't have the players, and probably because we don't have the players, we don't have the system wherein we can transition the ball quickly.
Right. So, Mojo, you've raised a very valid point about there that we don't have the players. And this is my question to you, Vishesh. I mean, we've had this conversation in person a lot, and I've been saying that anyone who thinks that we can mount a consistent title challenge is delusional, in my view, because we just don't have the players to do it. Man for man, our team is far more inferior than Liverpool's team. And in my view, Bruno Fernandes is the only one that might probably get into their first 11. So, Vishesh, now this is the question that you've been waiting to answer. Can we make a title challenge? And what are the reasons that makes you believe that we can make a consistent title challenge?
Okay, Prashant, but before that, I just want to mention one thing that has changed at United. I think you know this. I follow our youth system to the T. And if you look at how our youth system has suddenly changed, it's very impressive. They're playing a similar style of football, not that slow because we have good CDMs who can release the ball. But I think we're headed in the right direction and more or less copying the Liverpool blueprint. But coming back to title challengers, yeah, I think if we can get that, which is a very big if we can get that consistency at home, we can definitely go on to at least challenge for the title. I'm not saying win the title. I'm saying at least
Vishesh,
challenge. Put in.
Vishesh, don't tell me what happens. Tell me what have you seen till now that convinces you that it's possible.
What I've seen till now is our away performance. So we all know that this season fans have not been there, which has helped. You know the cliche thing that the home fans are your 12th player. It's very true. You do need home fans, and we've seen teams go to other stadiums and win points. And we've gone there. We've been horrible, horrific in the first half, and then shown some serious character to come back in the games, right? If I'm not mistaken, we've played 6-1-6 and gone behind in all six, which is which is fascinating. I mean, it's not a record that you want to hold, but it just shows that this team has the character to win these games. And if they put in the same effort as they do for maybe the first 60 minutes rather than the last 30, the whole dynamic of the full game changes. Now, when you have again, when you have players, I think I spoke to you today in the morning when Lindelof is coming out and saying, "Oh, I've been injured for a month with my back, but I will give everything for this team." It reminds me of Marcus Rashford last season, and I want that character in the side. So I know that the players are playing for the manager. I know the manager wants to improve from what he did last season, which was third. So what's better after third? You either stay consistent at third, or you move to second or first. You cannot go below, right? So if you're going above, you have to put in a title challenge. I don't want it to be like Mourinho versus Pep when City won already in December. And when you look at it,
Mm.
we're not that far off. We have two games to play. We win those two. We're 2 points away from Liverpool. Still have to play Liverpool.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I don't see an issue there. And I know a lot of people. I don't like doing this, but I'll do it. If we look at the table since Jan, we're topping it in terms of points.
Right.
So I don't
Right.
understand if we've been so consistent since January till almost the end of the year, even though a major part of it went due to COVID. Why can't we continue that form coming into the later half of the season? I know it's hectic. I know we don't have the players, but again, Jan is coming. This is the time, and this is where I think it'll decide our title challenge if the board invests in maybe another player. I'm not saying go out and buy three players like Igalo, Bruno, and someone else. You invest in the one right winger who is unhappy at a certain club and whose price has fallen drastically. Things can change. We saw the impact
Right.
Bruno had on our side. If we get a similar player, what do you think the impact will be on our side? I'm going to ask that to Mojo and you.
Right. Mojo, just to wrap up on this United title challenge point, I want to ask you a couple of things. A, what do you think of it? And B, the points may have been consistent, but do you see the consistency in performance that can actually lead to a title challenge?
See, it might disappoint a lot of United fans, but I genuinely believe that this title hope or title challenge talk is a false hope. We are considerably away from what is required to be done. While we keep saying we need one centre back, but I genuinely believe we need at least two centre backs. We still need a backup to Aaron Van Bissaka. We need legs in the midfield for a CDM because Matic isn't getting any younger. McTominay cannot play that role. We've seen that because he gets skipped and dribbled around too easily. So those are the three or four positions we need to strengthen upon still. Um, but I mean, like I would still say that finishing third would be a decent accomplishment this season. Second would be just out of this world. And if we could sprinkle that with an FA Cup or even a League Cup for that matter, the Carabao Cup, it'll be decent enough season. But title challenge, I think, is still, honestly speaking, about 3 or 4 players away. And the reason why I say that is, actually, that's a good point which was mentioned there, which was our youth and our first team are beginning to mirror the culture that we want to build at the club. But then there comes the another transition wherein how quickly can an under 23 or a reserve player transition himself to being a first player, first team player, that is. We've seen a lot of players come through and fall away. We've seen a lot of players come through and be a great success. But then class of 92 doesn't happen every decade or two. It's like once in a lifetime kind of thing. So we are 3 or 4 players short. And once that comes in, the second part to question is, are we tactically then set up right with those 4 new players in the current team? Um, and would Ollie be there, to make sure that we are challenging for trophies? So 3 or 4 players, some tactical nuances to be ironed out, and then maybe yes, we go again next season. But this season, anywhere top 4 with a trophy sprinkled here or there would be, I think, a great season to reflect upon.
Right. So I kind of echo your sentiment. I don't see us in the title challenge, but Vishesh feels very passionately about this. So I'm going to let him have the last word here. He genuinely believes, and he's not taking the Mickey out that as an optimistic United fan, but he genuinely believes it's possible. So let him have the last word here,
I
since
mean,
he's outnumbered
Sure,
2-1
sure.
anyway.
I mean, it's football, right? I'm not going to be like, this is going to be a Leicester kind of season where we win it out of nowhere. And neither am I going to be like, we're going to win it with a huge margin. My point is, this season is so unpredictable that you cannot keep it out of picture that there is a possibility of us winning it. No one
Right.
expects. No one expected Liverpool to lose 7-2. No one expected Jose to pull off what
Liverpool to
he
win
had.
7-0.
Sorry, Liverpool to win 7-0 and lose 7-2. No one expected Jose to pull off what he has with Spurs. So, I mean, and let's be honest, everyone expected Ole to be out of the job by this time. So, the fact that we're close to things, the fact that I just think there's no reason why we shouldn't count that in, because I think we have a good squad. I think Mojo's completely right. 4 players. He mentioned them perfectly. I think it's right wing centre back CDM and maybe and an Aaron Van Bissaka competitor. But I don't see why we cannot look at it from a positive point of view. I know it's delusional at the moment, but I personally think if December goes well, there's no reason come the end of this hectic 15-day period, we won't be having a serious conversation about this.
Right. Right. So Mojo, let's move on from the top of the table to the bottom of the table. Arsenal too big to go down, or is it a genuine possibility? And I mean, I asked this question with a hint of banter and a hint of seriousness because it is getting serious. Last 10 games, they've won just one game. Let's not mention against whom. But is it a serious possibility that Arsenal could go down if they hang on to Mikel Arteta?
See, we are all football fans. Taking the Mickey or a banter out of a competitive club who basically is going through a transition like ours as well. I find it a little disturbing, primarily because when we had been hammered by Spurs and we lost to Crystal Palace and barely scraping through Brighton, we were the butt of all the jokes around the footballing world. So, on a serious note, no, Arsenal are not going to go down. They are too big for that. Well, what I'm presuming is that if one or two more results don't go their way, then Arteta might be shown the door, because he has been given the signings that he wanted in terms of his reinforcements. So I believe there'll be a new manager who comes in should they lose another couple, and I don't see them going down. But they are so far behind right now. Any new manager who's going to come in, who's going to try and revive their season, at best is going to get them to about eighth or ninth. That they're not going to suddenly become what Ollie made United to be when he came in as a caretaker manager. But you never know; it might just happen. A manager might come in, just turn around the place, and they go some on a crazy 12-game unbeaten run. But with this current Arsenal team, I don't see that happening. They're not going to go down. They're probably going to have a new manager sometimes by January if they lose another couple. And the one coming in will change the fortunes, will revive them a little, and they'll finish at about ninth or 10th at best.
Right. So I kind of echo that sentiment. I know it's fun to think that they might go down and sort of watch AFTV implode and disintegrate. But in a very weird way, Manchester United is a very similar parallel in terms of the board not investing in the team and things like that. But Vishesh,
Right.
let's stick to Arsenal for a minute here. Mojo said the one who comes in can take them to ninth or 10th place. Who is that one that might actually go to Arsenal? Because there aren't many options out there. I don't think Poch would make that North London switch. And then there is Allegri, who's sort of looking for a job apparently for the last 2.5 years or whatever it is. So, firstly, do you think Arsenal will go down, and who do you see as a potential replacement? Maybe.
All jokes apart, they aren't going to go down. I mean, they're too big a club to go down. And let's be honest, the players who play for that club have the quality that they aren't showing. They aren't a 15th or 14th place club with the players they have. Mid-table, I'll be like, okay, but a 14th and 15th is pretty surprising. I think they are overly dependent on Aubameyang, who hasn't performed this season. We all are crazy fans of him when it comes to fantasy Premier League, but he's just not showed up. And will they go down, Prashant? No, they won't. I think West Brom, Fulham are just too bad for them to go down, to be honest. And when it comes to manager, as you said, and I echo this, Arsenal and United are in the same phase. They have a board that doesn't care about them. They have this feel to them that, oh, we signed 2 players, so now we're a better side. I remember when Arsenal signed Pepe and Partey, they're like, we're gonna be in the top 4 guaranteed. It gives you a similar vibe. I don't know. I just think that whichever manager comes in, you have a good run for maybe 6 months, and the cycle will repeat. It's the same thing that happens at United, where they're given the players till you reach Champions League, and then you're like, now we're not going to invest. For them, it's similar. You have a good start, you win some silverware, and then you don't invest. It happened with Unai Emery. It happened with Arteta. They're all facing the brunt of it, and I feel sad for the manager. To be honest, I think Arteta is a very good manager, and in fact, if I had to pick between Arteta, Lampard, and Ole, I would pick Arteta. I just think that he's out of his depth at the moment, and he's lost the players in the dressing room. To be honest, and there's no
So
coming back.
Vishesh, I don't agree. I think the difference is that I think Arteta is a good coach. I don't know if he's a good manager. I think there are two different sort of things. The two roles are not as similar as people think they are in football. And the other thing is that Arteta has made some
Right.
shocking decisions in terms of picking his lineup. I mean, and his substitutions as well. It's almost as if these new managers don't know how to make substitutions at all. Yesterday, Willian was on the pitch for 90 minutes, and I was pulling my hair out as to why he's there. I can only imagine what it's like to be an Arsenal fan at this point. And also he comes out and says, it's just numbers, it's pure math that if you put in the crosses, you're going to get a goal. Not with a 5'8" striker. It doesn't work. You need a striker who can head the ball. Lacazette is out of sorts. Aubameyang doesn't head the ball. We know that. Well, only if it's in his net, he does head it quite nicely. But moving on from that, Mojo, Vishesh mentioned something that West Brom are. Sorry, you want to say something? Please comment.
No, I was just agreeing with what Vishesh said in terms of United and Arsenal being on the same platform in terms of their boards not wanting to invest, and they both went through a similar kind of a cycle before Arsene Wenger went away. If you recall, they were given marquee signings for 2 years. They got Ozil and they got Sanchez, and it was all hyped up that they're the only two signings they made in about 2 or 3 years. Um, but then I don't entirely blame them because at that point in time, Arsenal had huge debts to pay off for the new stadium that they built. So being financially, careful was their agenda at that time. But then, yes, since then, um, it's been bad for them. It's been bad.
Yeah. So what I was actually going to pick up on, Mojo, is another sort of relegation team that Vishesh spoke about, and he said they're destined to go down, is West Brom. But now I am personally very excited about this. I don't know about many viewers of this show or of any of y'all. I think Big Sam coming back to the Premier League makes it very exciting because Big Sam is basically a cheat code to avoid relegation. But do you think Big Sam can do it at West Brom? His track record is phenomenal. He's a very entertaining manager when it comes to press conferences. On field, it's absolutely dinosaur football. You do not want to watch it, but he has a knack of getting results when it matters, and he has a particular skill set, and it works. So, what do you think, Mojo?
See, for all the clubs that Sam Allardyce has been to, and has been to actually save their career, save their season. Either it's like to stabilize the ship or it's to save them from relegation. What he started from is that he's got the players playing in a way that they don't concede goals. So once Sam Allardyce comes in, you'll see West Brom in the immediate 3 to 4 games not conceding goals. Once he's sorted that out, then he'll start picking up games where he can pick up points. I recall listening to one of his interviews back in 2006 or 7. I don't know the club he was managing then. And he clearly said that his approach towards stabilizing a team is to first get this defense sorted so that we stop leaking goals. And he said it usually takes me about 4 to 5 games to get my philosophy engraved onto players. And then I start, once my defense is sorted, then I pick up matches from where I can pick up points. And then I make my strategies around that in terms of how do I go about winning these, not drawing these, but winning these. So I'm sure Sam Allardyce would have picked up, I think, about 7 or 8 games where he'll try to win in the remainder part of what 25 or 26 they are left. He'll easily have found out about 7 to 8 games that he's going to pick up points at. So 7 to 8, that gets him about 24, and about 4 or 5 that he would want to make sure that his defense is seal tight so that they don't concede goals. So that's about 6 or 7 points more, and I think they're sitting on about 7 or 8 points right now. So that takes them easily to about 40. I hope you're getting my calculation. He picks out games he wants to win. That's how he picks up points. And then he picks up games where he can concede goals.
fantastic job in sort of dissecting Sam Allardyce, because I've gone through the past 3 or 4 days trying to explain why I think Sam Allardyce is. You can't compare him to the Peps and the Klopps and sort of the Mourinho's of the footballing world. But Sam
Yeah.
Allardyce does something that not many managers can do. It's not easy to come into a team that is destined to go down and you go there and you secure sort of security in the Premier League. It's not easy. A lot of managers have failed to do it. And I mean, it excites me to see a team or a manager who's willing to scrap in this modern football where it seems as if goals are the only one way to play, and managers like Klopp will come out and say, "Oh, when Simeone plays football, that's not the way to play football." I'm completely against that. I think there are many ways to play football, and the more ways there are, I think tactically it calls for a spectacle. To watch it is beautiful. But Vishesh, let's move on finally outside the Premier League. Let's move on to the last topic for this podcast. Outside the Premier League, there is a certain team called Borussia Dortmund who've sacked their manager. There is a certain player whom we don't mention anymore who is not performing as well. His price is dropping every game if reports are to be believed. So, what do you make of the situation there? And does Mauricio Pochettino potentially go to Dortmund or not?
I see two things very clear, Prasham. Number one, Sancho. It's becoming more and more evident that Sancho didn't want to stay at Dortmund. He wanted to leave. His mind is not in the game. I think it's. I heard one of the interviews of an ex-player saying that when you're on the verge of a transfer and it doesn't go down, you're not in the best of states after. And it's been. I don't think he scored a goal this entire season. So it's just not working out for him at Dortmund. And I think if we're given the opportunity to sign him for 70 or 80 million in the winter, we just grab it. We take it. We don't play hardball that no, now we only want to pay 60 or 60, 70 odd. We just take whatever it is because it's what we were willing to pay, and we get that player. Because I have a very strong feeling if United back Ole next season as well, Poch will go to Dortmund because Dortmund has that feel of bringing out the youth, developing the youth, and that's the kind of manager that Poch is. And I see Sancho doing very well with Poch. So it's either you get him now or you forget about him.
Right. Mojo, interesting point Vishesh has raised that you'd sign Sancho. And I mean, yes, Jadon Sancho is clear quality. I mean, all those, after we didn't get him, there were many Man United fans who just turned saying, oh, Sancho was never quality. I don't think that's the right thing to say. There's another player Man United fans said that about as soon as we didn't get him is Jack Grealish. Now, personally, I think Vishesh knows I'm a huge Jack Grealish fanboy. Mojo, this is my question to you. Forget form because there's only one winner, but if you had to only sign one player, would you sign Jack Grealish or would you sign Jadon Sancho? Keeping in mind that Pogba is probably moving on as well.
Well, the last line you said has put me in the quandary, given that Pogba is leaving. So because Pogba is leaving, I would say Jack Grealish. But had Pogba been staying, I would say Jadon Sancho. But then I guess to a certain extent, the Jadon Sancho saga is already ended. I don't see him coming at United, despite the fall in his value, or despite even Poch getting there, or whatever the case might be. But the interesting fact is, now that we're mentioning Poch, I'll just take 30 seconds over it. That every time there has been a hype about should Oli not win the next match, he's going to get the sack. And Poch somehow thinks that the United job door is slightly open for him to get into, and then the team comes up with a performance and just slams the door shut on Pochettino's hopes. So I don't think Poch is coming to United. First point, until unless we go on an Arsenal kind of a run, but God forbid we don't. I genuinely don't believe we're going to get Sancho now, because with Pelestri coming in, and with this another kid,
Ahmad
um,
Diar.
um, Ahmad, yeah, Ahmad coming in. I believe the investment in the right wing has been done, because surely you wouldn't pay close to 35 million for two youngsters and then spend another 70 million on a Sancho, just because he's having a bad run in the team that he's playing. The other thing to consider is that we were willing to pay only 75 to 80 million when Sancho was in his prime, when he was scoring goals for them left, right, and center. So considering that now we are saying that no, he's in a bad form, I don't think we're going to be agreeing to Dortmund's 70 or 80 million price either. We'll be saying, look, here is 50 million. Either you pay, either you take it, or we already have the youngsters that we've signed. So I don't think we are getting Sancho. That the Sancho story is done and dusted. Um, yes, if Pogba is leaving, I would think that we should get on our horses all and make sure that Grealish signs for us.
Right.
Prasham,
Right. Vishesh, do you want
I'm
to
gonna
come in?
come in here with a few things. I think Mojo's points are really valid, like no doubt. But what I believe is Brexit has played a key role in us signing these players, because the Brexit rules then state you cannot sign more than four players that are not from the UK, who are below the age of 21 or something like that. And then the transition of those players, they straight go into the first team. You cannot invest in your youth. So I think we've pre-invested in our youth. And I mean, everyone can have their opinion, but I strongly believe that we're still in the Sancho market if it opens. And just to answer your thing, Prasham, I don't think we go for Grealish anymore. I think Van de Beek has been brought for life after Pogba. And if Pogba goes, I think we go for Saul Niguez if I have to go for someone.
Yeah,
So,
no,
Vishesh,
he's a great player.
yeah, sorry, Mojo, go on.
No, so I mean, on signing Jack Grealish, I would say that it was a very dodgy failure in technology, goal line technology, that kept Aston Villa up in the Premier League. So, had that goal line technology worked, then Aston Villa were relegated and not Bournemouth, and we'll probably have Jack Grealish by now.
Yeah.
Those are the fine
So,
margins.
I just want to disagree with Vishesh on one point here. With all due respect to Donny van de Beek, and I know we've signed him, and I think he's a very smart player. I don't think he's in the same category as Jack Grealish, because Jack Grealish is one of the most versatile players, I feel.
I'm not calling him at the same category. What I'm saying is, if we're going to be moving Pogba on, the player I would get is that CDM role who can do the Matic thing, and that's where Saul Niguez comes, and he straight fits into the side. And then we have Van de Beek and Bruno to be the ones who distribute the play up front. I'm shifting
Right.
Pogba with two with one world class CDM. You have to agree that's in Saul Niguez, and a very smart individual in the midfield. That's my take on it.
I think Vishesh has led us to the topic for the next week's podcast as to who should be that CDM, because I have a couple of other names than Saul Niguez. But anyway, I think for today, I think we've covered a lot of points, and I think Mojo has sort of provided an excellent rational view, unlike some of the Man United fans who have sort of are on the bandwagon that, oh, Sancho is not good enough, or we are in a title challenge, or Arsenal are going to go down. So it's a nice sort of neutral perspective and a very balanced perspective and all of that. So thanks, Mojo, for coming on. It's been a pleasure to have you.
Thank you
And
for having me,
we
guys.
also thank
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. We also thank Red Devils NCR for sending you on. Guys, do go and subscribe. For they too have a YouTube page, and they are also on Instagram. So subscribe there, follow them on Instagram. We've put the links in the description. It's subscribe to our channel if you're new here, and we'll see you all next week with another episode of StarCast and all the Manchester United coverage that you all need. So thanks for watching, and see you soon.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching our video. If you do like it, please click on the thumbs up and please subscribe to our channel. Click on the bell icon to get daily notifications from the United Star. Follow us on Instagram at the.UnitedStar, and we will see you soon